What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. Now, for this video, we're going to be jumping into the Eternals, issue number 5. And if you haven't been keeping up with this line, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything Eternals. Now, so far in this line, we have seen the resurrection machine that brings all Eternals back to life. It is currently offline. Not only that, but Thanos has murdered Zuras. Zuras being the Prime Eternal. So we have Cersei, Fastos, Kingo, and Thena. They are all trying to root out the traitor who helped Thanos. And unbeknownst to everybody, Druig, after being interrogated, ends up joining with Thanos. And the whole time, Ikaris has been consumed with this vision he saw of a kid dying, the kid being Toby Robson. And after seeing this vision, he vows that this child will not die. And so while Ikaris is busy doing whatever it is he's got going on, he has Sprite keeping the protector slot. Now, with that being said, let's dive into this issue. Alright guys, so we're diving into number 6 of the Eternals. And this starts us off in New York City. Cersei currently sitting down with Tony Stark. They are sitting down having a lunch. Now, at first we believe that this lunch is simply Cersei trying to use Tony Stark, trying to use Mr. Fantastic to help them solve this problem, to help the machine get back operational. But we soon learn that she gave them false information. Not only that, she reveals that Thanos has been killing her Eternal friends, that Thanos is behind the destruction of the machine, and that Thanos will rule the world. And so by all accounts, it looks like Cersei is also a traitor. And we see her shut down Tony Stark's entire nervous system. He is a complete puppet to her will right now. But from a portal, we see the Forgotten One. We see Gilgamesh. And dragging Cersei through this portal, he has brought her here to punish her. But little did the Forgotten One know that this was all a setup. This was all a trap. And we see Ikaris come flying in. And we see Ikaris and Gilgamesh, they go flying off into the far distance, leaving Cersei and Tony Stark in the complete destruction left behind. Cersei apologizing to Tony Stark, saying that this was all necessity, using him as bait. Because as it stands, Gilgamesh is seeing himself kind of like an Avenger, kind of like a Punisher for the Eternals. And what he has been doing is going around and killing Eternals anytime they step out of line and try to hurt humans, like Cersei was doing with Tony Stark. Now, Cersei doesn't want Tony Stark knowing anything about Thanos. And so she touches his head because all Eternals have a little bit of telepathy. They have a little bit of power in that regard. Cersei may be not as strong as individuals like Druig, but she definitely has the ability. And so she simply goes around and changes a few words around to make it seem like that she was talking about herself and not Thanos. Because the last thing they need is the Avengers messing around in Eternal business. Picking up outside the city, this is where we see Ikaris and we see the Forgotten One going head to head. And Ikaris is telling him that he needs to surrender, but of course the Forgotten One, that's not something that he's going to do. And as these two are dueling it out, we see a portal open up behind the Forgotten One. Coming out of it is Kingo and Thena, throwing some shackles onto the Forgotten One, and they drag him back through the portal. Because this was all part of their plan. They needed to be able to capture Gilgamesh. And as it stands right now, he may be the only person that can help them stop Thanos. Which will take us to the network of subdimensional threads, picking up with Druig and Thanos. Because right now, they are looped in the surface buffer. This is kind of how the Forgotten One gets around. And of course, this intrigues Druig because he wants to know how Thanos figured this all out. But Thanos tells him that he decided it's best if he strikes from the shadows. Because right now, Thanos is not at 100%. There is something wrong with him. And this is where he exposes his chest, showing his heart, saying that there were some kind of repairs made to him. His last memory being falling into a black hole and screaming, which he thinks is completely beneath him. But something plucked him and made a deal with him, promising him that he could be renewed. And all Thanos has to do is kill. But Thanos is not stupid. He knows that his beneficiary is not going to hold or fulfill their part of the deal. Once Thanos is done doing whatever they want, he knows he's going to be disposed of, and so he wants to try to break the shackles. And so that is why we see Thanos teaming up with Druig, because this is his opportunity to break the chains of whoever is more or less controlling Thanos right now. Now, picking back up with the Forgotten One and everybody else, they currently have him shackled down and they're preparing for their interrogation. And as this interrogation begins, their biggest concern is the Forgotten One is somehow manipulated or used Thanos to his advantage. Because Gilgamesh has always wanted to punish the Eternals. And what better way to punish them than letting Thanos loose on them? And the reason he is such a prime suspect is because he is one of the few individuals who has sabotaged the resurrection machine before. Now, when he did it, it was only a temporary halt in the system, because the Eternals, they always get resurrected, and so their punishment doesn't last long. Death being the ultimate punishment, if they're brought back to life, their punishment is only temporary. And so to kind of give them a scare, the Forgotten One turned off the resurrection machine. That way they could die for just a little bit longer before they were resurrected and then the machine came back online. Now the Forgotten One, he's really insulted at this point, because he wouldn't work with Thanos, and he definitely, if he were to kill them, he's going to do it with his own hands. He's not going to have somebody else working for him. Now, all the Eternals up to this point, they figured it out that it's not him. And Athena knows it's not him because of the second principle. The second principle being protect the machine. And by now, it is very clear whoever is doing this intends to destroy the machine. And since that is not Gilgamesh's full intention here, she has faith that it is not him. But this is where we see all of Gilgamesh's men surround them, all of the Eternals, and they are pinned down right now, saying that the ammo they have will leave a huge hole in some of these Eternals. But the one person that they are not aiming at is Ikaris. Ikaris realizing this and asking the Forgotten One why. And he lets him know, like, if it comes down to it, I'm going to be the one to take you out. And Ikaris tells him, you know, one day we may fight and I may put your cocky arrogance in check. But as it stands, I have somebody to protect. I don't care what you do with any of the Eternals. I don't care what you do with anybody, but you're not going to stand in my way of protecting Toby Robson. And the Forgotten One, he believes him. Not only that, but he also wants to be able to clear his name. He doesn't want the Eternals thinking that he has any part in any of this. And that's what will take us to New York, with Sprite and Toby Robson sitting on a park bench just having a conversation. But Toby, he's kind of freaking out right now. He thinks about death a lot, and with everything going on, it's making him think about it even more. And so he asks Sprite, you know, am I going to die? And Sprite's reply is simply, you know, sure, you're eventually going to die, but as it stands, you have Ikaris and you have me protecting you. And so you may die someday, but it's not going to be anytime soon. And us Eternals, we're going to make sure of that. And Toby asks her if she has ever killed anybody, and she kind of laughs at this, because if he had any idea the amount of people that she is responsible for killing, he would be in absolute disgust, in absolute terror, try running away from her as soon as he could. Now at this point, the Forgotten One has led them to the point in the machine where he sabotages it. And he lets them all know that this is the spot. If he were to sabotage anything, this is where you have to do it. And as he investigates it, he sees that it's already been sabotaged by someone. And he lets all of them know that any scientist of note would have found this almost immediately. That in fact, he even told Fastos exactly how he did this before. So Fastos knows exactly how to sabotage this machine. And this is when all of the Eternals realize. And Cersei gets in communication with Fastos, who is down in the exclusion. He has been working on the machine this entire time, trying to bring it online. Or at least that is what we've been led to believe. But after being questioned about not picking up, not finding this sabotage here, he breaks communications with them and he immediately tries contacting Thanos because Fastos has been the one the entire time behind this. He has been the traitor from the get-go, and he has not been trying to fix the machine. He has been working to break this machine the entire time. And he tells Thanos that someone is in the exclusion and that he needs to stop them right now. And so with the Eternals being cut off from communications, they know exactly where they need to go. And of course, the Forgotten One is completely on board with this because this jeopardizes all of humanity. And we see Gilgamesh open up one of his portals. One of the portals that Thanos knows how to use. The back door that both of them have been using up to this point. Now, one crucial fact the Eternals have been overlooking is the clue that led them to the Forgotten One. Thanos was using the network exactly like the Forgotten One do, to subvert it and to use it as traps. And the Forgotten One, he learned all of this from Fastos. He is the one that taught him that. And we see the Eternals, it appears that they are walking directly into a trap set by Druig and Thanos and Fastos. And we see the machine, it starts to overload. It seems to be going on the fritz. And Fastos, he believes that this is only going to affect the Eternals, that it's only going to kill the Eternals, and that it will leave all humans alive from whatever's gonna happen. But the machine doing the narration lets us know that that is not the case, and that he is so very, very wrong. And that is where this issue will end. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This issue has definitely been more exciting than the previous Eternal issues. We're really starting to see the story unfold and really see that the conflict caused between the Eternals is always because they're always trying to one-up each other. You know, they've been living for so long. The only true enemies they have are their friends, or the people that can live as long as them. And we see Thanos continuously being used as somebody's pawn. And so we're seeing more and more that the Eternals are their own worst enemy at the end of the day. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. What do you think of Fastos trying to destroy the machine? Why do you think he's trying to destroy it? And why do you think that he wants to kill all of the Eternals? If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you don't miss any of the awesome content we have coming out. And until the next breakdown,